Beloved soul, welcome to this sacred space where love flows freely, where hearts are gently reminded that they are seen, known, and cherished by God beyond measure. A channel created not to impress but to bless, not to shout but to soothe, not to demand but to invite you into a deeper awareness of divine affection that has surrounded you since before your first breath. This is a place where weary hearts can rest, where broken hope is handled with tenderness, and where the quiet voice of God's love is allowed to rise above the noise of fear, doubt, and striving. For here we believe that you are not an accident, not forgotten, not delayed, but intentionally held in grace, guided by mercy, and covered by blessings that often arrive softly rather than suddenly. This channel exists to remind you that God's love is not distant or conditional, but intimate and constant, meeting you in ordinary moments, walking with you through unanswered questions, and embracing you even when you struggle to embrace yourself. For divine love does not wait for perfection. It meets you in process and grows with you as you become. Here you are invited to slow down, to breathe, to release the heavy burdens you were never meant to carry alone, and to rediscover the truth that God's affection for you is steady, personal, and unshaken by your past, your mistakes, or your moments of doubt, because blessings are not rewards for the flawless but gifts for the willing, poured out in wisdom, peace, protection, and unseen guidance. This channel is a gentle reminder that God's blessings are not always loud miracles, but quiet strength, unexpected peace, timely comfort, and the resilience to rise again after life has pressed hard upon your heart. And every word shared here is meant to be a soft hand on your shoulder, a warm light in your night, a reminder that heaven is closer than you think. We speak of love not as an idea, but as a living presence. Love that teaches, corrects with kindness, heals without humiliation, and restores without shame. Love that knows your name and understands your silence. Love that does not rush your healing, but patiently walks with you through it. This channel is for those who are learning to trust again, to hope again, to believe again, even if belief comes slowly, trembling, or wrapped in questions, because God is not offended by your uncertainty, but honored by your honesty, and blessings often begin the moment you stop pretending and start opening your heart. Here, you will hear words meant to awaken peace, strengthen faith, and remind you that you are never navigating life alone, for God's affection is not seasonal, His care does not expire, and His blessings are not limited by your understanding, only by your willingness to receive them. This channel exists to pour encouragement into tired spirits, to affirm the worth of souls who feel overlooked, and to gently declare that your life matters deeply to God, that your journey has purpose even when it feels confusing, and that every step you take in sincerity is already wrapped in grace. May this space feel like a quiet sanctuary where love speaks louder than fear, where blessings are spoken over your days and nights, and where you are reminded again and again that God's presence is not reserved for sacred places only, but walks with you into your routines, your struggles, your dreams, and your becoming. And as you listen, may you feel surrounded by divine affection, strengthened by unseen grace, and reassured that you are held, guided, and blessed beyond what words can fully express. Child, come closer and rest your heart for a moment, for this life with me is not a puzzle you must solve, nor a ladder you must climb, but a living walk of love, truth, and becoming. And I speak to you now not from distance, but from nearness, not as a stranger, but as the one who has known you before you had language for longing. And I say to you gently yet firmly that living with me begins when you stop running from the quiet truth already stirring within you and allow yourself to be seen without armor, without pretending, without fear of being rejected for what you carry inside. For I have never been intimidated by your doubts, your questions, your wounds, or your past. You have asked me for signs and clarity, for direction and reassurance, yet what you most need is not another dramatic intervention, but the courage to listen deeply, to sit still long enough to hear the voice that has been whispering beneath the noise of expectations, disappointments, and borrowed beliefs, because my voice has never needed to shout to be true, and it has always been present in the moments you dismissed as coincidence, in the tug toward honesty you ignored for comfort, in the love you believed you had to earn rather than receive. You have mistaken silence for abandonment, struggle for punishment, and distance for failure. But hear me now, for I do not turn away from you. I do not withdraw my presence, and I do not measure your worth by your performance. and nothing you have endured has been evidence of my absence, only evidence that you are learning, growing, and being shaped through fire into someone capable of depth, compassion, and wisdom you could not have carried otherwise. I know the nights when heaviness pressed against your chest and you felt fractured in ways no one could see. I know the memories that return uninvited, the fatigue that settles in your bones when you pretend to be stronger than you feel, the fear that whispers you are falling behind, and the quiet hope that refuses to die even when you are tired of carrying it. And I tell you this with tenderness and truth. Being here, still breathing, still reaching, still seeking meaning, is no small victory, and progress does not always arrive with celebration. For sometimes progress is simply choosing not to surrender to despair. Sometimes it is waking up after a night you thought you would not survive. Sometimes it is allowing yourself to name what hurts instead of burying it beneath distraction. And I am with you in all of it, shaping courage within you not by removing fear but by teaching you to choose truth over habit and trust over control. You have wondered why life has been so difficult, why answers have not come quickly, why healing feels slow, but I did not create you merely for comfort builds little and teaches less, while depth is forged through endurance, compassion through suffering, and wisdom through walking paths others cannot yet understand. And your scars do not disqualify you from purpose, they prepare you for it, carving space within you where my light can move not as perfection but as lived testimony. And what you have endured is not wasted, for I redeem what you thought would break you and transform pain into understanding, patience, and strength. You imagine obstacles as walls, but they are forges. You imagine heartbreak as loss, but it is the clearing of space for a deeper capacity to love. You imagine confusion as abandonment, but it is the unraveling of illusions that could no longer carry you forward. And though you want answers that end your searching, I offer truths that refine it, for your searching itself is part of your becoming, and you are still becoming in ways you cannot yet see. There are seeds within you that awaken slowly, seeds of discernment, self-forgiveness, peace, and courage, and they open when you stop running from the parts of yourself you fear, when you dare to believe you are worthy of healing, when you allow life to teach you instead of resisting it, and you are not behind, you are not lost, you are unfolding according to a wisdom greater than comparison. For there is no race toward me, only the inward journey of truth, step by step, breath by breath, and I am not keeping score. I am keeping you. You ask for signs, yet overlook the ones wrapped in simplicity. The conversation that stirred your heart, the clarity that arrived unexpectedly, the person who entered or exited your life at precisely the right moment. And I tell you this so you will understand. I am not only in the extraordinary, I am the quiet thread weaving meaning through your ordinary days, guiding you not toward a fixed destiny to chase, but toward a living relationship between your choices and the potential placed within you, and every time you choose integrity when no one is watching, compassion over judgment, truth even when your voice trembles, you move closer to the fullness of who you are becoming. For destiny is not a single arrival but a continual unfolding. You fear failure, yet what you call failure is revelation, showing you what must be strengthened, surrendered, or understood anew, and you do not ruin my work with mistakes. For I build not with perfection but with willingness, and even when you wander, your heart still turns toward truth, and that turning is enough for now. You fear being alone, but solitude is not loneliness, it is sanctuary, the place where you learn to hear what noise is drowned out, where borrowed expectations fall away and your true voice begins to rise again. And you must not run from solitude, for transformation begins there. You seek love everywhere, and sometimes you have accepted less than your spirit deserved because you feared emptiness more than misalignment. But love that crushes your peace, shrinks your soul, or demands you hide your wounds is not love, and I did not create you to depend on affection that cannot hold your wholeness. For the love you long for begins with honoring the life within you, not in arrogance but in reverence. And when you honor your worth, you stop begging for what was always meant to be freely given. You ask about purpose, imagining it as a single dramatic calling, but purpose is first woven into character, how you treat others, how you speak, how you respond to challenge, how you grow through what once defeated. I am not only in the extraordinary, I am the quiet thread weaving meaning through your ordinary days. guiding you not toward a fixed destiny to chase, but toward a living relationship between your choices and the potential placed within you. And every time you choose integrity when no one is watching, compassion over judgment, truth even when your voice trembles, you move closer to the fullness of who you are becoming. For destiny is not a single arrival but a continual unfolding. You fear failure, yet what you call failure is revelation, showing you what must be strengthened, surrendered, or understood anew. And you do not ruin my work with mistakes, for I build not with perfection but with willingness. And even when you wander, your heart still turns toward truth, and that turning is enough for now. You fear being alone, but solitude is not loneliness. It is sanctuary, the place where you learn to hear what noise has drowned out, where borrowed expectations fall away and your true voice begins to rise again. And you must not run from solitude, for transformation begins there. You seek love everywhere, and sometimes you have accepted less than your spirit deserved because you feared emptiness more than misalignment. But love that crushes your peace, shrinks your soul, or demands you hide your wounds is not love. And I did not create you to depend on affection that cannot hold your wholeness, for the love you long for begins with honoring the life within you, not in arrogance but in reverence. And when you honor your worth, you stop begging for what was always meant to be freely given. You ask about purpose, imagining it as a single dramatic calling. But purpose is first woven into character, how you treat others, how you speak, how you respond to challenge, how you grow through what once defeated you. And it expands as you expand, revealed through choices aligned with truth and courage, rather than solved like a riddle. Hear me clearly now, child, for this will free you if you let it settle in your heart. You were worthy before you achieved anything. Worthy before success or failure, worthy before praise or neglect. Worthy when you were lost, and worthy now as you doubt these words. And love was never meant to be earned, only received. And the wounds you carry from voices that misunderstood you or people who could not love you well do not define your destiny unless you allow them to speak louder than truth. There will be moments when fear returns, when old habits pull at you, when familiar pain tries to convince you nothing can change. But remember this, you are not who you once were. You are stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you believe. And you have survived everything you thought would destroy you. You keep waiting for permission to step into your life, for perfect readiness, for obstacles to clear. But the beginning is now, and the path reveals itself as you walk, not before. And you do not need to know everything to take one honest step. Trust this also, child, for it is wisdom you must carry forward. Not every voice around you is meant to guide you, even when it comes dressed as friendship. For friends speak from their own wounds, fears, and limits, and comfort is not always truth, and loyalty is not agreement, and discernment is not rejection but clarity, allowing you to honor others without surrendering your inner authority. For some will celebrate your growth and some will feel threatened by it. Some will encourage you and some will unconsciously pull you back toward what keeps them comfortable. And this does not make them evil, only human, but you must not hand them the compass of your becoming. Listen with love, but follow truth with courage, for your soul sees farther than familiarity, and your inner knowing hears whispers meant only for you. And as you learn to walk with discernment, compassion, and integrity, you will shed what no longer serves and make space for what is arriving. For every transformation requires release, and what falls away is not punishment but alignment, and what remains is what is true. Child, you are being prepared for a future that requires your fullest self, not the one that hides or shrinks or apologizes for existing, but the one who lives authentically, loves deeply without losing self-worth, and acts from wisdom rather than fear. And you have prayed, beloved child, come and rest your heart in my presence. For I speak to you now not with distance but with closeness, not with condemnation but with deep affection, the kind of love that has known you before you ever knew yourself. And I invite you into a life with me that is not built on fear, performance, or striving, but on trust, intimacy, and a love that does not waver when you are tired, confused, or afraid. You have spent so much of your life searching for reassurance, for meaning, for proof that you matter. Yet all along I have been walking beside you, gently calling your name, waiting for you to slow down enough to notice that you were never alone. And I tell you now with tenderness that you do not need to become someone else to be loved by me, for I see you fully, your strength and your weakness, your faith and your doubt, your courage and your wounds. And none of it causes me to turn away. You have imagined that I speak only through grand signs or perfect moments, but my voice has always been present in the quiet places of your heart, in the gentle nudges toward honesty, in the peace that settles when you choose truth, in the love that rises within you even when life feels heavy. And when you ignored those whispers, it was never because you were unloved, only because fear taught you to doubt what was already real. I know the weight you carry, the unspoken battles you fight, the nights when your thoughts feel louder than hope, and the moments when you wonder if you are falling behind or failing at life. And I want you to hear this clearly. Your struggles are not signs of my disappointment. They are evidence that you are human, growing, learning, and becoming. And I do not measure you by how quickly you heal or how perfectly you walk, but by the simple truth that you keep turning toward love even when you are tired. You have mistaken silence for abandonment, believing that when answers do not come immediately, it means I am far away. But silence is often where I am closest, teaching you to trust not what you see but what you know deep within, shaping your heart in ways that words alone cannot. And I have never left you in the storms, even when the waves frightened you and the night felt long, for I was there steadying you, holding you, and carrying you through moments you thought would break you. Child, you are stronger than you realize, not because you have never fallen, but because you have risen again and again, sometimes quietly, sometimes trembling, but always with a courage you rarely give yourself credit for. And I smile upon you not for your achievements, but for your persistence, for your willingness to keep loving, hoping, and seeking truth even after disappointment. You wonder why life has required so much endurance, why healing feels slow, why your heart has been shaped through loss and uncertainty. But I tell you with compassion that I did not design you for shallow waters, and the depth you now carry, the empathy, the wisdom, the tenderness, could only be formed through the paths you have walked, and nothing you have suffered has been wasted. For I redeem every tear, every ache, every moment you thought was meaningless, and weave them into a story that carries light for others and strength for you. You often compare yourself to those around you, thinking they are ahead, more confident, more certain, but you cannot see the battles they fight or the fears they only a journey of becoming. And I am not urging you to hurry, but inviting you to be present, to take each step with grace, knowing that I walk at your pace. You ask for signs, and I give them, but they come wrapped in simplicity, a conversation that stirs your spirit, a moment of clarity that settles your mind, a door that closes to protect you or opens to stretch you. And I ask you to trust that I am just as present in the ordinary as I am in the miraculous, guiding you gently through daily choices that shape your future. Your destiny is not a distant moment you must chase, but a living relationship between your heart and my love, formed each time you choose integrity when no one is watching, compassion when it is difficult, forgiveness when it hurts, and truth when it feels risky, and every such choice draws you closer to the fullness of who you were created to be. You fear failure, believing it disqualifies you, but failure has never frightened me, for what you call failure is often a teacher, revealing where growth is needed and where grace must be applied. And I build lives not with perfection but with willingness, using even your mistakes as stepping stones toward wisdom. You fear being alone, yet solitude is often the place where my voice becomes clearer, where the noise of expectations fades, and you rediscover the truth of who you are beneath roles and labels. And I invite you not to run from those quiet moments, but to meet me there, for I am gentle with your questions and patient with your pace. You have searched for love in many places, sometimes settling for less than your heart deserved because you feared emptiness, but love that diminishes your peace or asks you to hide is not love. And I desire for you a love that reflects my own, one that sees you, honors you, and allows you to grow without fear, beginning with the way you treat yourself. For when you learn to honor your worth, you stop begging for what was always meant to be given freely. You ask about purpose, imagining it as a single grand assignment. But purpose is woven daily through your character, how you speak, how you treat others, how you respond to pain, how you grow through challenges, and it unfolds naturally as you walk with me in truth and compassion. Hear me now, child, for this truth will heal you if you allow it. You were worthy before you ever achieved anything, worthy before success or failure, worthy before approval or rejection. And nothing you do can earn my love or make you lose it. For my love is a gift, steady and unchanging, offered to you simply because you are mine. The wounds you carry from misunderstanding, rejection, or loss do not define you unless you allow them to speak louder than my voice. And there is a deeper truth within you, calling you toward healing, wholeness, and peace. There will be moments when fear tries to return, when old patterns whisper that nothing has changed. But remember that you are not who you once were, for you have grown through every storm, learned through every fall, and carry a strength born of survival and hope. You keep waiting for the perfect moment to begin living fully, but the beginning is now in this breath, this step, this small choice toward honesty and trust, and you do not need to see the entire path to take the next step, only to trust that I am guiding you. Be gentle with yourself as you grow, discerning whose voices to listen to, loving others without surrendering your inner truth, and trusting the wisdom I have placed within you, for not every voice is meant to lead you, but my voice within you will never misguide you.